Boa noite. Tonight I'm not able to get to go to the orphanage to tell the story because I'm not feeling too great. But I get to tell it with my family tonight. And just so that they know what's going on, I'm going to recap on all the different stories that happened, the three different stories from before. So the first story was about a centurion and Jesus. And the centurion understood that Jesus had the authority to tell things to happen. Now, this authority was so great that he could just say to the men that your servant is healed, and his servant would be healed. And Jesus was just amazed at this man's faith. So, Jesus said, "Go. Your servant is healed as you have asked." Then Jesus got into a boat and they crossed the sea. Well, a huge storm came up, and the disciples, afraid for their lives, decided to wake up Jesus, who was sleeping inside the boat. Jesus rebuked them and then rebuked the sea and calmed the sea. And the disciples were amazed, and they were just like, "Whoa! Who is this guy that has the power to calm the wind and the waves?" Once they reached the other side, Jesus came upon two demoniacs with tons of demons inside them, and they were extremely violent. And Jesus cast out the demons into a herd of swine, and the swine ran down the embankment into the water and died. The townspeople didn't like this so much, and they urged Jesus to leave their area. So Jesus got back in the boat and went back across the water. Once he reached the other side to Capernaum, all the people heard that he was at home, and they all decided to come out and hear what Jesus had to say. Well, so many people came out, in fact, that his house was full to the point that you couldn't even get into the door. 4 men decided they wanted to come, and they brought along a paralytic so that way he could be healed. Well, upon seeing that they couldn't get into the door, they decided to get on top of the roof and dig a hole so they could let the pallet down. Now, when Jesus saw this pallet being lowered into the room, and Jesus seeing their faith, he said, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now, some of the Pharisees and the scribes were sitting around in this room, and they were thinking in their hearts, only God has the power to forgive sins. How this man is sinning. Jesus, knowing in his heart that these men were thinking this, Jesus said, "Is it easier to forgive this man's sin?" No. Is it easier to tell this man, "Your sins are forgiven"? Or is it easier to tell this man, "Pick up your pallet and go home"? Well, just so you know that I have the power, the Son of Man has the power to forgive sins. Son, pick up your pallet and go home. Well, the paralytic, in turn, picked up his pallet and went straight home. And all the people were just amazed and thinking, this man has amazing powers. Now, that's the end of this story. I would like to ask you, Mar, who were the characters in this story?
Jesus, the para-something, which I can't remember.
Paralytic.
Yeah. The Pharisees, a bajillion people, and the guys lowering him down.
Okay. Now, was there anything that really surprised you about the story? You have to speak. They don't know what this sounds like.
Not really.
Not really. You've heard this story before.
Yeah.
So, it pretty much... Would you be surprised if you were sitting in your house and somebody dug a hole through your ceiling and then lowered somebody into it?
I'd be very unhappy, but probably. I'd be more surprised about a paralytic getting up and walking, though.
Yeah. So do you think what do you think about Jesus' question? Between, is it easier to forgive sins? Or is it easier to tell a man to get up and walk?
I think it's easier to say your sins are forgiven than actually,
Tell a man.
yeah, get up and walk when he obviously can't.
Yeah.
Because that's something you can see.
Very good. Do you think that there is any moment that you could tell this story to somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me back up. Do you think that you could tell this story?
Yeah.
From memory.
Yeah. Well, not as good as you did, but I could. Full of weird words.
Can you hit the high spots? What were some of the spots that were in this? What was the story?
Well, very simply, basically, Jesus was talking to a bunch of people, and then the house was so full that these guys had to lower a paralytic down through the ceiling. Yeah, so that Jesus could, I don't know, I guess they wanted him to heal him. I don't know if they went with that intention or not, but
okay.
Either the guy wanted to hear or be healed, but either way he got healed. And that was it. Oh yeah, and I don't know. I don't know how to explain the other part.
What happened afterwards? Did Jesus heal the man? What did he do?
No, he healed the